Hello everyone, my name is Mariam Mokhtar. First, a very simple message. We, that means you and I, we have a mission to accomplish, and that is to rebuild Malaysia. And so, when kangkongs insult our intelligence, then we must ignore them. If our leaders lie, we will continue to speak up. Kangkongs cannot stop us from speaking out. And if the truth hurts, do something about it. Don't sulk. Don't play childish games. And don't merajuk. By the way, the only good kangkong is the kangkong that is cooked in belacan. And now, today's video. There are many things Malaysians can learn from Singapore, and one of them is about leadership, in particular how to handle corrupt politicians. In Singapore, their leaders deal with corruption simply and swiftly. But in Malaysia, our trademark is for theatrics and time wasting. In Singapore, a former cabinet minister, S. Iswaran, was swiftly brought to trial in September 2024 after he was first charged in January 2024 with accepting a bribe worth the equivalent of several 100,000 ringgits. In October, Iswaran was found guilty and jailed. But in Malaysia, we take half a lifetime in between the sickies and the various delays before hauling a corrupt politician like the convicted felon Najib Abdul Razak kicking and screaming to the dock. And then, when the corrupt politician has been sentenced and he has barely warmed his prison mattress, we suddenly find the pardons board knocking on the prison door, the lelong discount people offering discounts on his fine, and horror upon horrors, house arrest is thrown in for good measure. These corrupt crooks live in palatial mansions. So what punishment is that? If it were left to me, and I think to you too, corrupt politicians should be given hard labour and asked to clean the prison toilets with a toothbrush. Or maybe they should just get the treatment given by the PRC to their corrupt people. A bullet to the back of the neck. So, when Malaysians question why the pardons board is involved, our politicians will say, nothing to do with us lah, it's the king. See how they blame others, especially the top man? Because then we do not dare criticize him because of the sedition charge. And then, if that was not enough, we go through another lengthy, eye-wateringly wasteful time discussing the merits of house arrest in Parliament, when we should really be focusing on the needs of the nation. Singaporeans have a sense of purpose when they do things. Once a task is over, they will then move on and concentrate on the next job at hand. Things get done quickly, and productivity and efficiency are both high. Malaysians, on the other hand, do the opposite, and just to complicate matters, we will drag the 3 R's, race, religion and royalty, into play. There was no leniency shown in Iswaran's treatment, and no special allowances were given. The prosecution had asked for I think it was 6 to 7 month sentence, whilst Iswaran's lawyers sought a mere 8 weeks in jail and later argued that the judge had been too severe in sentencing their client to a year in jail. The judge, Justice Vincent Hung, I think it was, had decided otherwise. He was keen to preserve Singapore's international image of an upright, squeaky clean, lack of corruption island nation. More importantly, as his sentencing remarks had shown, he said, holders of high office set the tone for public servants in conducting themselves in accordance with high standards of integrity. Our politicians are also of a different breed than the Singaporeans. When he was charged with corruption, Iswaran had written to the then Prime Minister Lee Hsien Loong, claiming his innocence and rejecting the charges. However, Iswaran had also tendered his resignation and returned his salaries and allowances. Now, the last time a Singaporean minister was charged with corruption, I think it was in 1986. The National Development Minister Teh Cheang Wan was investigated for accepting bribes. But such was his shame that he took his own life before being charged. Across the causeway, Malaysia treats its corrupt politicians with kid gloves, and political prisoners are spoilt by having their fines and jail time reduced. Our ministers who are charged with corruption will persuade their peers to lie on their behalf, just as Najib did with his then cabinet with 1MDB. Our corrupt politicians also appear to disregard the evidence used against them and protest that they are innocent even after they have been sentenced. The Malaysian judiciary had already discharged its duties in sentencing Najib. But it is the political meddlers, including and especially those in Putrajaya, who have insulted the judiciary and made Malaysians angry with their interference. The Pardons Board, including individual politicians and lawyers, have sought to confuse the public and undermine the trust and confidence of the public in the government. Najib has been sentenced. Why won't politicians focus on governing the country instead of regurgitating Najib's case? Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim's poor leadership qualities will not endear him to the Rakyat. Why humour Najib and his apology? Najib, he thrives on attention. Moreover, he knows how to twist insecure leaders around his pudgy fingers. The Prime Minister should have kept quiet about Najib's apology. If he was able to keep silent during the months-long spat between the UMNO Baru youth leader Akmal Saleh and KK Mat, then why was he unable to do so with Najib? Anwar also said nothing about the failed assassination attempt on lawyer Siti Kasim's life. Now that is a very serious matter. You cannot have nutters going around trying to harm and kill government critics. But Anwar was silent. He was also silent on many racial and religious issues attacking non-Malay and non-Muslim people. That is not leadership. He gave hundreds of millions of ringgits of taxpayers' money to the Palestinians. But he wants Malaysians to dig deep into their pockets for the flood victims. We already have. We always do. We always answer the call for help for our Malaysians and also for those abroad. But it is a betrayal when Palestinians are helped before our own desperate people. And now he wants to help the Talibans. Please help our own people first, Anwar. Are you that insensitive? Malaysians will receive a tongue lashing whenever Anwar's huge ego is dented. Thus, the Rakyat received a telling off when Malaysians criticised his acceptance of Najib's apology, and they mocked him for being the saviour of the Palestinians in Gaza. Singaporeans are serious about preserving their good reputation, but in Malaysia, particularly in Putrajaya, politicians only care about their self-interest and their own parties. Thank you for listening. Speak to you soon. If you like my videos, please press like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Please also visit my Patreon channel if you wish to sponsor me. Thank you.